Hello, welcome to Testify. This is Hope TV, where you look and live. And on Testify, our faith in Jesus Christ keeps growing. My name is Sharon Aitore Wangenye. It's a joy to have you join us today, and we encourage you to connect with us. Leave us a comment on the comment section if you're watching this online. And remember to like the page. Remember to subscribe. If you're watching this on your TV, please connect with us on the WhatsApp number that appears on your screen. We started a conversation with Mutinda some time back, and we want to continue that conversation today. And he's here so that we can carry on with that. Carry on, Anna.
Thank you. How are you today?
Doing well.
I'm blessed.
Welcome back.
Hey, thank you so much.
So we continue with, you left it at, you are in Tanzania and you have gotten into a fight with a guy because you're taking his job
Yes, definitely.
and you have been favored.
Yes.
You have gotten affirmation
Yes.
or looking after you. This is what you were anticipating all this time.
You know, let me talk about the kind of, it's important also to describe the kind of affirmation that I was looking and I was getting. I'm still in the streets. I'm still sleeping in the streets. I'm the kind of a guy, when it is raining, I would stand and hold my boxes like this until it finishes to rain, then lie down again because I don't have a mattress. I don't have a place. I don't have a place where I can call home or what. And at this point, remember now I'm doing car wash. I did a lot of things. By the time now I'm specialized with car wash. I did sell, what do you call it? You know, those peppers in the market. I did sell water, you know, running around selling. We used to call it margin high. And I used to sell mihogo, that is, what do you call it, cassava. And I used to do, those are the things I remember now, but there are many of them. But one thing that stood out is I used to sell newspapers.
Oh.
Yes, I was a newspaper seller, and I'll tell you about it. Please remember that. If I forget anything, that is the most important for you to tell you about newspapers. So I have been brought back from the hospital, and I'm now back to the street. So Mama Tabia calls me, and she says, son, I think it's now time for you to have a home. You have been staying outside there. I've been watching and I've been seeing you, and I see you are a good young person.
When you call, you say calls, it's not on phone.
No.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, come. Now it's, yes, face to face. It's because where I was living, she stays, there's just a corridor you enter where she stays.
Okay.
So Mama Tabia now takes me in. At this age, I wanted to understand Mama Tabia it's more of I could say grandmother's age, because she has sons older than me.
Okay.
She has ladies older than me, and now she even has grandchildren, but we call her Mama Tabia. She's known for Mama Tabia. So when I went to her home, I acquired a title, Mtoto wa Mama Tabia. I became part and parcel of Mama Tabia family. That means what? I have identity. 2, I am untouchable. In relation to the street, and I'll tell you why I am untouchable. When we entered into Mama Tabia's house, you find a gate. Then you enter, now you find another small gate. When you enter in the small gate, you can never enter that gate without first knocking. So when you knock, somebody comes and sees who it is you, then you open the door, you get in. You find some houses, left, center. You go behind, you find a huge space, and there are some benches there. Then now you enter into the main house. The main house, there are houses this side, and a huge corridor. Why am I telling you all this? Everything is key. Some of the children live there in those houses. She also has tenants. It's not a big house in terms of mansion. No, it's these big soil houses. So, like when you go to Mombasa, those houses. So, she gives me a slot in the corridor. You see that wide corridor? There are slots where you can keep your things and sleep. And the guys who are having other slots, they pay rent. They are people who do small businesses. They come from outside the town, outside the city, from different localities. You just come and you see, like the way we have these guys from Burundi who sell njugu in our country. Now those guys, they may even come from within, but they pay rent to sleep in those corridors.
Oh.
But me,
okay,
I have a slot.
Free.
Yes, free. I have a slot.
Favor.
I can tell you. So now I want you to understand. Now, when I'm in this slot, it means I have a place to put my things and a place to sleep on. So if it is raining, even if I'm sleeping, whatever time, nobody can ask me. Nobody can question me. Now, why do we knock this door? Because whatever happens in Mama Tabia's home is something from another world. This is the place where it's a drug world. That's why I tell you, we are now getting to another chapter of my life as a sweet boy. This is where you find cocaine, meadrat, name them, all of them, bank, all of them.
Okay.
They get sold. And the top of the list, you remember the outside compound where there is just benches? Below that compound, liters and liters of changa, liters of changa. At night, we would dig, remove them, whatever is to be used, and then cover. So when you come during the day, just a playing ground for children. But during the night, and that now, and then there was prostitution. There was...
Right in that compound.
Not directly, but those who are staying in those houses, they would go and come. They would go and come, including the children, including the... It's a big... the home. And it was a lovely home. And Mama Tabia's business, she was a seller for food, street food. So in the evening, she would prepare her food and take it to the... So I would be one of the people carrying the benches. Now, why did I get access to her home? Why did she love me? As I told you, I became a person of tool. This is somebody I would help her with carrying the benches. I would help her carry the sufurias. I would help her wash her. All that time when I was in this, I was not like, and I didn't know much about her. But when the need of a mother came, she became a mother. Because she realized with this guy is just lacking someone too. So when I entered into that home, I got now an identity. I used to sell bank, but I never smoke. Why? Because if the people want it, they know I belong to that family. I would go out, be sent. I would carry money, exchange, and come and give. So because of that, I was now introduced into the world of drugs. But something interesting is this. They used to sell cocaine. There's a guy who was called Bella. And this guy was a drug, addict to the core. He had used all his veins. The reason why I don't use cocaine and I've never used cocaine was because of Bella. Why? Bella had used every vein in his body. Every vein was a mark. Every vein. So this guy, for him to get a vein, he would remove his clothes, do his stuff as a man. And when there's a vein, that is when he would put a needle. I think you understand. And then Bella was a thief. He would, during there's a road where there's a traffic jam. They would just go and hit the side mirror. Somehow, pop, run with it. Thief, and then they see it is Bella. Nobody would touch him.
Was he violent?
No, he was not violent.
Why would they not touch him if he's stealing?
One, it was his stuff. He was not alone. That was their stuff. Two, I think for him not being violent, he was only stealing. Remember, he's not stealing for anybody. In the traffic, you are stealing for cars that are passing. So he would not steal for anybody within. He would just go and buy what? Cocaine for use. And he was not the only one. There were a lot of them around there. So if they say thief, what has been stolen, it is a side mirror. It is Bella. Who would now? Bella is not a bad guy. You're getting the picture.
Yeah.
So
he just needs the money for cocaine.
Yes, he just needs the money for cocaine. So when I saw him and others, but him was the extreme, it made me respect cocaine. The access was there. If I had wanted to use, but later I'll tell you, if I wanted, I don't think if I wanted, I would have really. If there was a need to use, there's nothing I would have done, I would have used it. Access for ladies was there. But let me tell you what happened. The corridor I was staying in, there was a tenant. His name was Shabani. And his brother had another. And they were somehow with some money rich kind of lifestyle. So Shabani was a young man like me, was older than me, I think by 3-4 years. And he was like, why you sleep in the corridor? You are a nice guy. I got a house. I stayed with him inside now the house. So I am in Mama Shaban's, I'm in Mama Tabia's home, but inside Shaban's, because Shaban had a big room and a big bed. Now for the first time, I got a bed.
This is after how long of being in Tanzania?
We are talking about, I think, 2 years there, something, if I'm not.
Wow. That's a huge span of time.
Yes.
All this time you were sleeping on the floor.
My friend, I know how to sleep in the floor. That's nowadays, let me not jump to that. So now Shaban stays for a while and then they shift. Remember, outside, there are other tenants. So there's this guy who comes, we don't call him Shehe. He comes and says, since Shaban has gone, you need a home. You can't be staying again in the corridor. Come. So I entered into his house, and his house did not have a bed. He had a, what do you call it?
Mkeka.
Mat. And then now, it's important for you to tell you about this man because he was a sheikh, but a mganga.
Oh.
And he was practicing what?
Witchcraft.
No, when you say mganga in Tanzania,
you mean
daktari. He's using traditional medicine, but invoking majini. That's the word sheikh. So you would stay with him there, he would invoke his stuff, he would do. And then I used to love writing. I remember I wrote a novel, he loved it. He said, now what you're going to do, I'm going to translate into Swahili and you're going to print both. Because he was also, one of the reasons I also realized was doing that, he was the EACC type undercover. Because he would eat this. Tanzania, they don't chew. But with him, he would introduce it. So I was introduced to chewing cat. Now, I moved now from washing vehicles to learning how to drive. I became a taxi driver in that environment.
Whose car are you driving?
The people have been washing their cars. I'm telling you, you know when you have value, people recognize the value and they appreciate the value and they give an opportunity. So one day, this guy calls me and he's called Msebwedu. It's a hard name. He calls me now. There's what we call Shanta. Shanta is somebody who stands on the taxi, calls people. When they come, they don't go. But in the morning, they get paid. So he asked me, do you want to be a Shanta or do you want to learn how to drive? I said, I want to learn how to drive. He said, that means I may not pay you, but you know how to drive. I said, it's okay. And that's now how I knew how to drive. Because I would go with him and he would give me the car when I'm coming back. So with the time, I even was given a car to do the all night. So you can understand that process of growth because of my availability to learn. At a certain point, I had to learn how to fight. Gojiru, Shotokan, all those kinds of taekwondo, kickboxing. I was a master, became now I have to know how to survive in the streets. Remember the issue with the Asman, the guy who beat me? It made me now become hardcore in the street. And then there's a guy who was, I don't know why I forgot him, it's called Maneno. Maneno was also a street boy. We used to work together, but he was a smoker. So Maneno is the one who introduced me to smoking. So in the evening, after we have finished our car wash and everything, we would go to another estate, dressed very well. And we would go, him was a drunkard. I don't know why I don't drink. I don't know. Up to date. But he would ask for beer. Me would ask for soda and I would take embassy. Put it there and do like this. And then that was now introduction of attracting girls. And for that reason, why I mentioned this, I found myself in a knife fight. We fought with the guys in the street because of girls. I was so beaten. My friend Maneno sling somebody's hand until it was almost falling off. I remember I was going to the hospital at night, coughing and blood and everything. In that particular, I think that is the time I would have died because the way I was beaten, stones and everything, it was like mob justice. We were beaten with Maneno when we went because of such kind.
What did the girl do? Someone took the girl?
No. With this kind of lifestyle, you attract. You call them Swahilini. When you go to the Swahilini and you are kind of dressed good, you are looking good, all the girls come too.
Okay.
So actually, let me tell you how it started. So this girl, my girl comes, Maneno's girl comes, and the boyfriend of Maneno's girl comes. And he calls this girl, and he slaps the girl. And Maneno is asking, what are you doing? He gets a slap. And then I'm like, why are you beating my friend? I get a slap. And we are like, no, you can't beat us. It was a setup. We started to fight him. Other guys came and it became a brawl. And with my taekwondo and everything, it helped me because I was never taken down. But I remember, let me tell you this, because we need to do a movie with this. The good thing is Maneno had a relative in that area. So we rushed to his place. And then the relative went to look for a taxi. The taxi stopped immediately at the door, and he opened the door. And we rushed from the house. We ran into the car. And the car, it's a movie thing. That's how we got saved. That's how we've saved. But they followed us later. They knew where we were. And Maneno was put into a writing to pay for this.
Arrest.
Yes. That's how you solve street things. Because of that. Now, that was the one. Another episode, me and Maneno, we became so good at washing cars that everybody was coming. And then you are like, wait. We can have 5 cars waiting for you. These other guys, they don't have cars. So they ganged up together. They beat us. We beat them. And then we realized we need to go to the police. So we went to the police to report. While we were at the police, they also came to report. So you guys are fighting. And we are put inside, all of us. So that was my first time to spend a night in a police cell in the street.
All right.
But anyway, that has not that value. So I can tell you it was not, that's something, street life was not easy. Not just because thought it was easy. So it was a survival. There was this group of kids that I had joined. We were learning taekwondo together. How do we know we have learned our practices? We would, if you go and urinate on the wall, there's a place where it was written, kojua kwa, and if you do that, it's for your own risk. So we would see you doing it. That's where we come and practice our styles. How effective were they? So that's how I was able now to interrogate and with these skills. Now I want you to remember something. Asmani came back later, I think after a year. He came and he asked for forgiveness. But my friends told me, if there's a police case, you must go to the police. We went to the police, we went to the court, and on the second mention, I looked at what am I doing here? And I told him we are done. I forgave him. And we went back to the street. We continued living the street life.
So all this time you're in the streets, you're not using any drugs?
No. Now, let me tell you.
Only cut.
No, only the cut and the cigarette. How did the cigarette end? Remember, Maneno, we are very good friends. We are washing vehicles. And this morning, I am feeling angry. And I tell Maneno, can you give me some money? I want to go and buy some food. He tells me, I have nothing, my friend. Everything is bad. 20 minutes later, he gives me money to go and buy for him cigarette. And every time I would go, I of course have to light it. I look at the money. He's holding a big note. I just asked for him for money to buy food. And he's here giving me money for cigarette. That is the first day we fought with him. We had a physical fight. And the resolution was, never would he ever introduce me to cigarette. So that was the end of the story, a cigarette. And that's the end. As much as we are doing, remember, I also want to tell you, I was a taxi driver. I was privy to a lot of things. When you are a taxi driver, Tanzanians love to enjoy life. So we would go to places where there are parties. And the first thing you go to a party is you get invited to drink. You're given beer of all kinds. Me, I would put them in the trunk. And when we go back to the taxi place, that's why I would really give people. Because I was not a drunk. I don't know how. Me and beer, we have never been in the same. I remember when I was a kid, my uncle, there's a time he came and introduced me. I think I drank, I rolled, I fell down, and my grandmother hit me so hard. I think that is, and then another time when I was in Taveta, I think it was my dad. I think he gave me, if it's not my dad, it's my uncle, I don't remember who, gave me a cup and nothing never worked. So that's how I maneuvered from. But now the girls, that's another story. No, this time money is there. Remember, I'm driving, a taxi driver. I have access to a car. I was this. So I think the girls were just not hard to get because I was a Kenyan. The Kenyan never missed. So what happened after that? There's a scenario now. How do I get now the lifting up from the street? The guys I was washing them vehicles, in that place there was a company for printing and they had Kenyans who were employed there. We had Mr. Ken and Mr. Maina. Mr. Ken would give me his car, I wash it very cleanly and he would pay me extremely. But Mr. Maina became so much interested with me. So one day he told me, what do you want? You can't continue living in the street. I told him, I want to learn. He told me, go to any college, ask what they want, and then I can pay. So I went to a college. It was a financial institution. They told me, you have to come with a certificate. I told them my story. You remember the story which is sticks?
Yeah.
That my uncle
Kept
and
the
what?
story.
Yeah, I kept the story. It made me... So they told me, you must come with any kind of a certificate. So they recommended I go to a computer college. I get a certificate, I can come to learn. So I went into this they call VETA. VETA is like, is it CUT? VETA is like the biggest institution in terms of like, then for government.
Okay.
I went there and Mr. Minor paid everything. I did computer at that early age. One day I was in the street walking and there was this Muzungu guy was asking for a cyber. And I had and I knew and I took him to the cyber. And he opened for me an email. But because of my lack of knowledge by then, we lost contact. But my interest in technology, that is how I got now. When I got this, it took me, I think, 6 months. And was the leading candidate. I still have even the school fees and everything that I used to pay, paid by Mr. Maina. Now, Mr. Maina, his term ended in working that company. He was a Kenyan, but living in the US. He was going back to the US. So he told me, he opened for me a postal address for him to be sending me money to be able to go and pay in this financial institution. So I went and I registered, but somehow the postal address and everything with Mr. Maina disappeared. So that became the end of education. The same company, before the same company, there was an Indian guy who was working there, was interested with me. He gave me a job, a temporary job, or he was doing printing IDs and all that. I worked for him for 1 month. I didn't like it. I quit. I went back to the street. Street is addictive. When you see people try to leave street and they go back,
Oh, it is.
never blame
Why do
them.
you say it's addictive?
There's a comfort. It's like a comfort when you get comfort to certain things of life.
We have freedom.
You have freedom. Nobody's bothering with anything. You are just surviving. And then to people, by the way, when we look at people in the streets, we think they are living a hard life.
Yeah.
Sometimes when they tell you it is hard, you just want the attention. They just want money from you. It is very comfortable when you are comfortable there. So I went back to the street. And then the same company that Mr. Ken was working for, now they called me and told me, we have a position, we are expanding. We have a position of a cleaner. Would you like to do work as a cleaner? I said yes. They took me in. When they took me in, you remember Shabani? Shabani had gone and got a job and he had a house in a place we call Tabata Mawenzi. So he calls me, says, stop now living the street. Come and have a place. That's how I left Mama Tabia's place, went to stay with Shabani for about 2 months because he was also getting married. He left everything for me, moved and started life with his fiancée, left me with now a small house. And now I was working in this company.
Okay, just hold it right there. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back in a few moments. Stay with us.
Namaste Ji. Have you ever heard of Asians that have come to the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ as their personal savior? On the Testify show every Thursday, we have a special segment on the third Thursday of every month known as the Asian Testify.
You can't go ahead doing wrong, but you pursue the truth and trust of God, and He will make the ways for you.
I asked myself, what would happen if I give my life to you now in my 18s, and how much further would you carry me as a result?
Join me, Nigel Casimiro de Mello, as we listen to amazing and inspiring testimonies from Asian brothers and sisters that are in the Lord. Only here on Hope TV, where you look and live.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, Karibu Sana. You are on Testify at Hope TV, Look and Live, and we are on with Mutinda's story. So you've gotten a job
Yes.
before
As a cleaner.
as a cleaner.
Yes.
You now have a home, a
A
house
house.
of your own.
Yes. And I'm a cleaner in a company.
Okay, that was prestigious. Yeah.
I'm telling you, that is towards the 4th year now. I mean,
Just,
think.
just before you continue with the story,
Yes.
are you thinking about home? Do you want to go back?
No.
Do you care?
Never. Ever. Ever.
You were not
Never.
worried that they were looking for you.
I wasn't. I never even looked for anybody.
Wow.
Even with the pain I was having, not pain, those incidents where, challenges there and there. There's no time I was like, oh, what am I doing here? If there's a time I had joy, pure joy is that time. I was very happy. I was very happy.
Okay, Sawa. So
Yes.
you were to tell me something about the newspaper.
Good. Fantastic. The newspaper story. So there was this guy called Mr. Charlie. Mr. Charlie used to be a newspaper vendor. So Charlie was for Charles, who used to be namesake. He liked me. And he would leave me to sell the newspapers. And because I was a newspaper, I would also move them around. And then I would sit and read. And during this period, I don't know, we call them, I fear sometimes mention this word, penepos.
Pen balls.
Let me not repeat it.
Yeah.
My daughter will crucify me. So we used to have them in the columns. And this time, you would just write with an email or a PO box. So I was going through this, and then at this particular time, I saw one, and I saw a name, and I liked the name, and there was an email address there. And I went, because now technology had been introduced to me, I went to the cyber, I wrote an email to this Penepo. Did I say the right word?
It's okay.
So I wrote it, but what I wrote back, I was like, I want to be your boyfriend.
Oh.
Yes. I just like I just liked the name and the profile, and was like, wow. And the response came later. It was like, yeah, I'm your girlfriend. And we started dating.
Girlfriend.
Yes.
Okay.
We started dating.
All right.
And then there was these guys who do street interviews. I remember they came and interviewed me, and once they finished interviewing you, they ask you, which song do you want and who are you dedicating? And I said, I'm dedicating to my girlfriend in Bukoba, Tanzania. And it was I think it was either InSync. This I promise you.
It's okay.
Something like that one. I did. And from that, she got told, your boyfriend in Dar es Salaam dedicated you a song. And it was like, wow. And that grew our relationship. We started getting so serious. We would have date over the calls. Every Friday at a certain point, I would call, she would call. She would expect my call. That back then it was, I'm not it right there. It was this call box.
Okay, yeah.
And we telephone booth. And she would be expecting the call on Friday at a specific time. And we started letter writing.
Wow.
And we did letter writing with those Marashi good things, photos. So I would only see our photo. And I was seriously dating her. But remember, I was a guy's guy. Didn't mean I didn't have what?
Yeah. You had others.
But now she became so, because she would hear there's a job opportunity somewhere, she would send me. I would go, I would look and say, no, this one was not good. And we'll talk about it. So we became friends.
Okay.
We became so friends that we became more than friends, because if she has a headache because of her boyfriend, she would tell me. If I had a headache because of a girl, I would tell her. So we became so close and so intimate.
This is so twisted.
I am telling you, it was safe heaven. Then we moved to Yahoo Messenger. We would. I remember there's a date. It was Valentine. We had a date through the Yahoo Messenger. So I was in the streets back then. Remember this? I've just returned you back. I was in the streets. I had a serious girlfriend, even though there was others, but this one was a serious one because they would have dates. They would buy those things, a gift, and all that. So carry forward. 9 years we dated with her. 9 years, never seen her. Even my life after. But she wasn't. That's why I said it was very important for you to get to know about the newspaper. And I'll tell about her story later. How did this thing end? So now I am in the job. I have this now. I don't know, I'm confusing people, but because now I have this serious girlfriend I want to settle with. And my friends in the streets now, the taxi driver and the clique of you, they tell me, you cannot come here, settle with a woman, and we don't know you. We don't know where you come from. If anything ever happened, who will ever go to your home? Those are the first people to introduce me to the memory of home. And then at that time, I looked for, I don't know how I looked for my uncle. I don't know how I got his email and started engaging him. And then I told him I'm in Dar es Salaam, and he was shocked. Then at that particular time, remember, I entered this as a cleaner. It was a printing company. I ended as a cleaner. I started growing from cleaner to errand boy to messenger to all this. And then they had this particular program of training designers, graphic designers. And I was interested in learning. So I started doing that. Mr. Ken, the Kenyan guy, was there, was helping me a lot. I started getting a lot of favors from the owners and everything. But now when it came to this issue of home, I asked myself, by the way, if I settle with this girl and we get a child, would they ever know home? Let me go home. So on my own volition, I decided, let me go home. I took a bus. I remember we got an accident on the way. The bus fell down. We got another one. I came home. I met my parents.
9 years. That was
No,
after how-
that was now in the 5th year.
Okay.
Just in the beginning of the 5th year. 4 full years in the beginning of the 5th year.
All right.
So they are very happy. I remember my mom crying, and they
What did-
told me the stories,
They
or they
thought
looked for
what
me.
would have happened? What
Yes, there's nowhere they didn't search for me, but never Tanzania.
because
They used to say, this guy, the way he hates these guys, how can he? No, there's no way.
you had managed.
The book helped me.
Okay.
So now I'm working. I know Mbani, but I'm a school dropout. So I meet Mama Hope. There are women who I've met in life who have made huge differences in my life. Mama Hope is one. She was a neighbor. She knew me when I was young. And she called me. She had a candid discussion with me, telling me, if you are a millionaire and you are not educated, what is the benefit? She started sending the seeding of education in my heart then. But remember, I was used to money. I told them, okay, we'll know. I went back. But that conversation made me think of school. So I called my parents. I told them, you know what? I'm done with this street life. I'm done with this life. I'm coming home. I want to go to school.
Oh,
So that's how I came back now
okay.
from Tanzania, home for a school life. Now I come back, all of a sudden, I'm a Muslim. I don't go to church. They look for me at school, and one of the schools was a very good school in Ukambani. I refused the school because they wanted me to go to Form 2. And I said, no, I can't go to Form 2. I
You
just need
wanted
to
to
do
go
2 years.
To Form 3.
Form 3, Form 4, go back to making money. That was my goal.
Okay.
So they started looking for schools. And then one of them, there was a school called Mwagogo. There was a teacher. My friend can understand when they say Mwagogo. There was a teacher called Mr. Gaduri. He said, I was in Timbila when this guy was there, and he was very good with the CU things. I can vouch for him. Well, he vouched for me. I went to, now I'm skipping a lot of stuff. I went to Form 3 in Mwagogo school, a day school, but not a day school, a Arambe school with the boarding facility, but still like the one which we had. And it was in this school, the headmaster gave me, Mr. Mwakio, I remember giving me one term, If I don't perform in one term, he's done with me. And it's also at that time now, Mr. Gaduri was the head of CU, would call me. We would have a chat with him. And we talk about him and he told me about God. And I was like, my friend, leave that guy there. Leave me alone. But now I'm a Muslim and I'm not practicing Islam. But I don't go to church. And nobody even can tell. It was only him who had the guts. Because he knew my background. So from term 1, I became number 6. Oh, the teacher saw the potential. He gave me the opportunity to school. Come that time, I was index number 1. So that means there was something inside me. Now, so that we jump out of there, it's important to understand what happened with Mr. Gaduru. His talks and his what, eventually I started finding balance, finding myself, getting to forgive God, because he messed me up. And starting to find the place of love and back now to Christianity. And it was at this point God revealed to me, you did not get wasted in the street life because I was preserving you for a purpose.
Okay.
So I didn't know what the purpose was then. Now I'm back. I get back again. I pick up. I'm very good at picking up.
And your parents, have you forgiven them?
Of course, we went through a very emotional state. We forgave each other. Now my sister was older. We got back. Now the other siblings from now my father's first wife was now part of the family.
Okay.
So there was that kind of integration, and but again, the war never ended between me and mom. It never ended. It was a serious one. And I'll come to talk about it later. So I get back to school. I finish my Form 4. And then I'm like, I want to go back to Tanzania. But I say, let me get some. There's a cousin of mine who says, I see you have a lot of quality in TV things. Not TV, in computer things. So through his advice, I went to KCA. I learned something called IFMIS. Information management system, but it was not in my blood. Graphic designing was because of my exposure in the company I was working. So I decided to drop IFMIS. I went into graphic designing. I did graphic designing and I started doing earning my money, and I was thinking, now I'm in Nairobi. Why do you need to go to Tanzania? Let me just earn my money here. So as I was doing that, in that process again, we had another clash with my mother. I don't know how to put it. Well, let me put it as it is. I had my company that I just started with printing, and my mom connected me with an hospital in Taveta where I could provide for them some booklets.
Okay.
Cutting the small short, she overthrew me. She took the business without my knowledge. When I realized what had happened, this time I ran away again, but this time I didn't run like the first time. I moved from Nairobi to Nakuru and started my life without anybody's interference. So it was while in Nakuru where I was now, I was going to remember I was a Presbyterian. While in Nakuru, I was also a youth leader in PCA, Dr. Hadha. I joined there and I started having there's something different with me. Like God is calling me. So I remember this particular day I was bathing in the bathroom and I had this voice very clear. I want you to serve me. And I was like, God, how do I serve you? I want you to get into full-time ministry, serve me. So at that time is when I went to my pastor and I went through that process. Through PCA is a rigorous process into getting into ministry. I got favored. I got into training. I got trained as an evangelist and I was employed in Mombasa as an evangelist for the church. So I've skipped a lot of stuff there just to go that point. Now because now I want to introduce you to the newspaper story, why it is very important. So I get employed now as an evangelist. I think 27, 26 there. And I knew my life before. Me and the women, we were like,
Buddies.
so I have to, I have to find a way. Now I am a minister of the word of God. And I'm this young approaching, looking who can, So every girl was like, yes. So I said, no, I need to settle. So I had this girlfriend. We had grown up together in the same area, Taveta.
So you left the other one. The
We are forgotten now. That's another life.
Okay. Let's go on.
So I have this girl, and then like it's becoming serious. So I go and tell my parents, by the way, do you know so and so? If you ever see us, we are serious. So I intend now to introduce, you can't bring somebody without first talking about it. The next thing, I'm called by the elders of the church and the pastor. And they tell me, no, you cannot continue with this girl. Her background and everything is not okay. Your mother is not okay with it, blah, blah, blah. And remember that time by this was the time when I was learning school and ministry. So it was like, if I continue this relationship, it can embed my learn and everything. So when the girl heard the story and she told me, Mutinda, I know you love me, but your mother, never. Me? In your family? I don't want that. So she ran 1,000 kilometers per second. I pursued her, but she said no. So I called off the relationship. And it was at this time, I remembered my friend. And I was like, I need to talk to my friend and tell her what's going on in my life.
The Tanzanian.
Yes. So I call her. And there was a time she had called me when I had a girlfriend, and I told her I'm married. So this time I'm calling her and I'm like, I need to talk to you. We talk. And I feel, wow. And she also tells me a story. And I'm like, why can't we meet?
All this time you haven't met.
We have never met. So we decide to meet. I'm in Nairobi. No, I'm in Mombasa. She's in Tanzania, a place we call Bukoba. And we decide, let's find a mutual ground to meet. We meet in Kampala.
Okay.
And you start not to understand why I'm called international. So I go all the way to Kampala. She comes from Tanzania to Kampala. We meet, and for the first time, I like, you never told me you are beautiful than the way you were in the photos. I was like, and she came with the brother. By the way, the first when we met, she came, and she introduced me to the brother. The brother left us, and we had a serious conversation. And I felt myself, I've been looking for a wife.
Wow.
Why am I running around and like this person I know our eternity? What is it about me she doesn't know? What is it about I don't know? And I told her I'm marrying her.
No.
Yes. That conversation, that one day conversation,
Yeah.
when we left there, we decided we are taking this thing to the next level. Now, knowing how my parents...
Was she a Christian?
Yes.
Okay.
She was a Christian of Catholic background.
Okay.
So at this time, I was like, this girl, knowing what my parents did, I can't just introduce her like that. So I went to my grandfather. By the way, I forgot to say, ever since one of the people who really wanted to come to get me in Tanzania when they knew where I was my grandfather. He's passionate and fond of me. He's 90 plus years and he's still alive to date. So I went to him. We were very close. And when I told him, Granddad, I want to get married. I have this girl from Tanzania. And I like saying this. This is what he asked me. And I'll say it in our language. In translation, have you looked for a girl just around here who you want to marry and you refuse to marry? If she has refused you, I told him, Grandpa, we'll come and talk about it. Remember, then I was employed by the church. So I needed this issue I needed to settle.
Yeah.
Knowing my background and what is happening ahead of me, I needed to settle with someone who is serious. So what my grandfather did, he called the daughter, my mom, and said, hey, your son is marrying a Tanzanian. What? She sends Mama Hope and says, tell Mutinda, over my dead body, you gonna marry a Tanzanian? No.
Okay.
So first they thought we had met in Facebook, but then now Facebook had picked.
Okay.
So my mom was saying, these are Facebook, girlfriend, all that. And she was not telling me. And now I'm employed. Now I'm introducing this is what you call Dear Wedding. I've written a book, as I said, and it's capturing now this, because now this I think is the real battle of my life. Wanting to get married with a person whom I love and my parents saying no. So I'll just give a brief of it. because it is murky. Remember, we have had issues with my mother before. This is not the first time. But let me tell you, the first one was nothing compared to the second one.
Okay.
Because my mom rose up to the occasion, and she remembered the statement was over my dead
Body.
body. And my statement was, if you want to know I serve a living God, I will marry this girl. If you will not marry her, I'll follow your God. You know, those conversations we say, not in a way of talking, but meaning it from the heart. So we started a duel between me and my mom. And my mom she's okay. I got fired. She influenced
Oh.
for me to get fired from the position of the church I was working as an evangelist. And it was murky because the way it happened, I was called by the pastor. I was given a letter. They told me they have fired me because I have not met the expectation. That was the reason.
Okay.
But behind the reason, we know the reason, because my mom said, how can you have an evangelist working for you who is marrying without the consent of their parents?
Okay.
So they had to fire me. When they fired me, I was given a letter I was stopped from doing a lot of stuff in the church, and I was told, if possible, I leave the church. Now, the day I got fired, 2 days later, I was called by men of that church. They sat me down and told me, Mutinda, you have served us for 1 full year. We have never seen you have complained. We have seen you serve as a minister in this church. You have gone to prison. You have done everything possible. It is time for us to serve you. Sit down. Keep quiet. And that's for the first time I saw God now fighting for me openly. Those people, they looked for a pastor. They looked for a venue. They looked for whatever was required for a wedding.
Oh.
During the pre-wedding day, women, well, they tied their laces, ready to fight anybody. Because the leadership, sorry. I'm crying inwardly.
Sorry.
So, the leadership of the church was divided. Some of them were for the pastor. Some of them were for me. But members decided, no, this guy just wants to get married and he wants to do a wedding furthermore. You know what my mom did? I was called by a senior pastor and told me, I have a meeting with you in this church, in this hotel. So I went into that hotel. To enter into the hotel, I found about 11 people. My grandfather, my uncles, my aunties, elders from the church, and people of importance, and my father and my mom there. And to make it the strong story short, they were there to stop me from marrying this girl. And they wrote as resolution, I should not continue with this resolution or think of marriage until after a year, when I'll call the same team to come and do what? And allow me to get married. So this is what I did. I realized my parents, they don't know this girl. So I took my girl, told her to come to Mombasa. I took her to Mombasa, showed her my pastor, and took her to my parents without my parents knowing they are coming. When we went there, they accepted us. My father left. I left with my mom. And I went on my knees. I begged my mom to allow me to get married to this girl in front of her. And she said no. I told her, what is the reason? Just no. I cried tears. And because of how mad I am, I went to my Mama Hope's place. When she saw me, she just opened the bedroom and told me sleep. I slept there for 5 hours. And then she told me, I know what is happening. Go back to that home. Don't say a word. Your girl is there. So I went
Which home? Your mom's home?
Yes.
She was left there.
By the way, I forgot. This is the second time. The first time she came, I'm rushing myself. The first time she came to our home, she never stepped in. She was refused from stepping in. She was told not to come in because they didn't accept her. So I had to tell my girl, go and come another day. I'm telling you, I'm married to one of the wives. I think, she's God-given. Because I also has to ask God, is she the one for me? But now, before that had happened, my mom refused. My parents refused. And I told them, you know what, in good faith, I am inviting you to my wedding. You are still my parents. I'm not changing the fact, but I need you in my wedding. Did the wedding take place? Did we get married? Did we do a wedding? I say we have few minutes.
Did we? Did you?
12 years in marriage.
To that girl.
Blessed with 2 children.
To that girl.
She's a worship leader.
Oh, wow.
She's a lover of God.
Amen.
She
This is a nice place to.
I'm looking at that story because I have not shared with you a lot. These same things I'm lacking because I've been called, I've been fired from the church, I'm getting married. We start life afresh in Mombasa with this girl who we have not been accepted by the parents. So we start off with nothing.
Okay. Mutinda, I want to cut you short.
Yes.
In the interest of time. We are at the height of the story. I see.
Yes. There's much ahead of what we have shared.
Okay. So this is where we pivot at. Again.
Oh God.
Wow. I feel like I would want to meet your wife.
Did
Because-
I tell you something?
Uh-huh.
I traveled from here to South Africa with 1,500 Kenya shillings only.
You will tell me that. You will tell me that in another episode. Allow us to finish here.
Okay.
But what's the lesson we pick from that part of the story?
It's important to pursue God with all your heart. And even things are not making up, they are not adding value, pursue Him and seek His will. Because after all this I've gone through, God was preparing me for what I am today. And I had to go through that because of what I carry right now. I've been doing ministry for 13 years, 14 years. I've never had this kind of a discussion with people because God was preparing me for the next level.
All right.
When God calls you, don't listen to people. Agree to go through the process, but the results will speak for themselves. The last thing I also want to share about it is people are not who they are, but the enemy can use them to delay you from becoming who you're supposed to become. Love them. All the people who have hurt me, I've learned to love them.
Wow.
I've learned to accept them.
That's deep.
They make me who I am because of the love that God has given me. He told me, I have protected you from all this. You would have become something different, but I protected you because of who I want you to do to serve me.
Wow. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you for sharing your story. I pray that this story encourages you. Pray that your faith is stirred up, and I pray that by hearing this story, there's going to be a difference in your life. Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Testify. We continue with this story in the next episode. Remember to keep it right here. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead at Hope TV Kenya, like our Facebook page as well. Leave us a comment on the number that appears on your screen. May your faith in Jesus Christ keep growing. My name is Sharon Naitore Wangenye. Bye-bye.